Okay, let's move forward. We have our cup, and the underside and the top are now white, and the inside as well. Maybe I can use this opportunity to give you a brief introduction to creating procedure material. So I open a menu, and I choose texture, and then I choose procedure texture. Now, what are procedure textures? We'll give you an example by using the brick texture. Now, let's see what happens if we put this here. Now, we only want to select the textures that have the brick texture applied to it. So we're going to click the object in edit mode, and we haven't selected anything. Then we go to the right, and we choose Papa or cardboard on select, and all the faces that are assigned to this cardboard material are automatically selected. This is a great way to solidify your selection so that you're not by accident selecting something else. So now we're going to click on view and we choose cylinder projection, and then we're also going to put the UV map in here. This is not always the case, but now it is. And as you can see, we now have our brick texture on the inside of our cup, and we can adjust it. We can make it bigger and we can make it smaller. We can now make the mortar size bigger and smaller. That is the thing in the middle. So this is something you can also use to make a street texture, for example, if you would feel like it. And you can also set the offset. So for example, you can also make windows with this very easily if the offset is set like this, but this is just an example. There are of course many more. The texture we're going to use now is a basic texture, namely a noise texture. Now if I get a new texture, I put it into the base color and then increase the scales a bit, and then you will see that this is the result. Of course we won't leave it this way, but in general the texture does what we want. This definitely has the potential to become cardboard. Now if we put a so-called math node in between, then we can actually add the value. For example, if I'm at -1 here, a 1 is subtracted from the brightness value of the new texture, which means that we're at black, which makes perfect sense. At 0, it's sort of the same as it was because we have the new texture because it's adding a 0. But if I add a brightness of 0.5, for example, this means that the value that was previously black is now more or less gray at 50%. I can also go in the positive direction above 1 if I would want to, though. Why is this, and how can I prevent this? Well, you can prevent it by clicking on clamp here, and it's because math works that way, if you will. If I click clamp here now, I can prevent it from going over 1 or below 0, and then I can create a very subtle cardboard texture with a value of say 0.7 or something like that. Maybe we'll make 0.6 out of it, and now you can use these new textures and slam it into the normal output with a bump node. We can also click on an invert here now and to see how that looks. It probably looks a bit more like cardboard this way. Anyway, you should make sure that the strings are not too high here. And now we have created a very small basic procedure textures map, which means that we finally completed texturing our McDonald's cup. Yay! Now let's quickly go back here and activate proportional editing. We select the points and we several more points in a certain direction, but again, not too much and not too little. And then we do G, Z, -1 again, because I know exactly that I just moved it up a meter because I was paying attention. And now I have a very realistic McDonald's mug. However, in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to build this scene around it and how to render the whole thing. And then it should be about the different render engines like Cycles and how exactly everything works and how I loaded in this environment in the first place. And you're gonna know all about that in the next section. I'm excited to show you that, so see you guys then.